We are live.
All right. Yeah, who is there? Who is there? Welcome on board. We are live. Live 2021. And we are so excited to have you with us. It's a busy week for us. I started earlier than today, to sensitization. And today is very key in our nutrition education organization, and that we celebrate free year. So we want to be with us, and we want to show you that this event is a condition.
I can't really hear you clearly.
When you hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so we want to appreciate you for being with us once again. Thank you so much for being with us. So without much ado, I want to invite my colleague. Meanwhile, it's going to be an interaction. It's going to be an interactive section. Nobody is going to be interviewing anybody. We're just going to have a discussion as professionals. This is just to help you understand this issue, to appreciate it, and know how you can help yourself with the information you're getting here. Thank you so much for being with us. My colleague is here with our able dietitian. He's also a registered dietitian. I celebrate him a lot because he's actually a dietitian in Gombe Teaching Hospital currently. Welcome, Mr. Adimchi Adike. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I hope excitement is not making you to mess up my name. Thank you very much. I am Adimchi Adile, and I'm so excited to be part of this webinar today. And by the grace of God, all things being equal, we are hoping to have a very wonderful interactive section. When my colleague was talking, I noticed that there is a little bit of glitch in audio. I don't know if our viewers out there can hear me clearly. Daishan Fechi, can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Okay, so I noticed that I was not able to hear you loud and clear. So today is World Diabetes Day. Today have been mapped out by International Diabetes Federation for the celebration of World Diabetes Day. And today, Nutrition Life don't want to be watch standbys. We want to be active to ensure that the purpose of what diabetes is, that is to create awareness, that is to sensitize people on diabetes. We want to ensure that the purpose will be achieved. So today, that is why we are organizing this interactive section to let people understand what is at stake, the need for knowing your diabetes status and ensuring that proper care, medical care is being assessed. Okay, this year's theme is access to diabetes care. If not now, when? And this year also have to be the year that they are celebrating 100 years of insulin production. It marked 100 years that insulin was produced, yet the high diabetes, the prevalence of diabetes is still going high, which means health professionals are still not doing what they are supposed to do. So today we want to use this opportunity to sensitize people, to create awareness, and to make people take actions, be intentional about their health. So thank you very much. And we hope that you will be with us from the beginning of this section till the end, because we are coming with a lot of value, and we hope that you will be able to grab this value free of charge. So now a lot of things have been said about diabetes, so much have been talked about, and diabetes is something all of us know, but for the benefit of learning, I'll briefly talk about diabetes. Diabetes is a chronic metabolic condition which is characterized by elevated blood glucose level. That is to say, this disease condition happen over a period of time, and at the end of the day, the glucose level of the blood keep going high and high. And this condition can lead to damage of the various organs of the body, ranging from the heart, the eye, the kidney, and the likes of them. So, knowing about this condition, there's a need for us to understand the statistics that surrounds diabetes globally, even in Africa. There's a need so that we understand the need for us to take action, the need for us to go for our sugar level test to identify if we are really at risk of diabetes, to identify if we might be suffering from diabetes without knowing. So I believe my colleague will, take us through some of the statistics behind diabetes globally. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I believe our viewers are key that some of the statistics idea from internationally.
See
Idea.
if you can adjust your mouthpiece to make your voice come in very well.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
IDF says 463 million people, about 463 million people globally. Half a billion, right? This includes both children and adults. Okay. And in Africa,
If you don't mind, remove the headset and talk. Let me see if your voice is clearer. Will be clearer.
well,
Just remove the headset and have you removed the headset?
I
Sorry,
don't
see if you can remove the headset and let's see how it will be. Can you
Can you
hear
hear
me?
me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Is it better?
Yes, very much better.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so IDF says that 19 million people are currently diabetic in Africa. This 19 million is just for adults. I don't think that of children is inclusive from what I saw. They said adults. They were strictly on adults. So that means the figure for children is not captured, right? And in the project in the year 2045, that figure 7 million adults in Africa will become diabetic. And down here in Nigeria, currently, uh, our figure is still seen to be around to certain organizations. Problem here is that we don't have data. Data is the problem. And I know that that figure might be more or less. It depends on if we do actual research and find out the prevalence of diabetes in Nigeria. It's about 6 million people, and it's right here. So 1 out of every 2 diabetic patients you see globally, they are undiagnosed of diabetes. 1 out of every 2 individual that are diabetic, okay, one person is not diagnosed, okay, and this tells you that many people are not diagnosed of this condition. A lot of people are still living, without knowing that they are actually diabetic, right? In low and middle income countries, in Africa and in Asia, 1 out of every 5 people who are elderly are said to be diabetic. That shows you that age is a very, very important risk factor. So if of every 5 elderly is diabetic, that's a very vital risk factor. Right? Diabetes is said to have caused about 4.2 million deaths, okay, annually. It's something that we need to, that is very important. We need to, consider in all of this. And
Can you see me on the screen?
spent diabetes care. US is one of the largest people that have spent a lot because of the amount of investment they make in their healthcare system. All right. He said that diabetes has cost at $760 billion in health in 2019. 10% of that spending are on adults. Okay, so it shows you that diabetes is also financially involving. You need to manage the condition, right? That's basically why people in low and middle income countries like Nigeria, you know, are the the of it. All right, we are suffering a lot because we are investing little in this healthcare of diabetes, and that's why one of the tip for this year says diabetes care. So since we are not making enough, investment in our health system, I think it's high time our leaders start looking towards, improving some of our health system to ensure that diabetes care is available for people in local communities, because this will help access this care. All right. But that is for now in terms of the statistics. All right. I don't know. We're going to go into the next agenda, and my colleague will do justice to that. Adimchi, over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you very much for that wonderful exposition. As you can see, diabetes is a very, very serious problem of public importance. A lot of people don't know that they are at the risk of diabetes. A lot of people don't even know they have diabetes. So, talking about risk, talking about risk of diabetes, we have to look at some of the risk factors that can predispose one to diabetes. But before I go into that, for the benefit of us getting to know a little bit more about diabetes, I have to talk about some types of diabetes. We have type 1 diabetes. This one is a condition usually manifested among younger children, little children, and younger adults. In as much as in as much as it's not only younger adults, it can still, as far as there is history of this diabetes in the house, it can still manifest in later age. So type 1 diabetes is as a result of the body fighting against itself. All of a sudden, the immune system fights against itself, leading to no production of insulin. We also have type 2 diabetes. This one have to do with where insulin is being produced, but the better site where it is used is resistant to the insulin produced. That's for type 2. We also have gestational diabetes. This as a result of high blood sugar level during pregnancy. So these are the basic type. We also have pre-diabetes. But going forward, let's quickly look at the risk factors. The things that can predispose one to diabetes. So basically for type 1, there is no known cause. There is no known cause. But it is also shown that somehow it runs in the gene. So for children in which their family, there is a history of diabetes in the family, and that person being a child is at risk of developing diabetes. Then for type 2, there are a lot of risk factors to that one. Lifestyle, gene, family history of diabetes can expose one to diabetes. Even excessive consumption of refined sugar can be a risk factor. Even excessive weight, especially in the abdominal region, can also be a risk factor. Lack of physical activity can be a risk factor. So then for pregnant women, the risk of developing gestational diabetes can be as a result of excessive weight even before pregnancy. As much as possible, lifestyle can be a risk factor. So for instance, there's this patient I once see in my place of work. The person basically did not know that diabetes have already manifested in him. He believed I can just do my normal thing, live my normal life. One day he noticed that he can no longer perform. He noticed that he can no longer perform as a man. So coming to hospital, the medical doctor say go for test. Lo and behold, the sugar, even fasting sugar level was very high. So when the man was referred to me for dietary counseling, when I started talking to the man, he was like, how would this one lead? I don't know that this lifestyle, because he doesn't really exercise and he go about taking refined sugary drinks. So these are basic things that can expose one to diabetes. And moving forward, since the purpose of this year's World Diabetes Day is to let people know about diabetes and how they can easily access proper diabetes care, I want to sensitize us on the things you will see. I can hear you.
You mentioned, I wanted to point out something.
Okay.
Man's mother that is diabetic, gestational diabetes. Normally, as we know, it's due to the pregnancy, probably because of the hormones that are released in pregnancy, they inhibit of insulin. But after
I can't really hear you.
Woman,
okay,
after giving birth and the child is overweight, is as the case may be, maybe the weight is above 4 kg and above, all right?
Yes.
Is at risk of developing that.
Yes.
So which I didn't even know she was pregnant. She was asking me about you was okay, fine, let's talk. Started talking and started managing, and okay. So, but what I discovered was that she never knew anything about diabetes, and I had to take time to counsel her, to help her change her lifestyle, because she's this kind of person that eats, junk a lot. So we had to cut down a lot on that, and the guy is normal now. She's happy, and her baby is doing fine. So, but I told her that there is also a risk,
Okay. I noticed that I struggle to hear a lot of things you said, but if I should make out what you said, you talked about a patient that was pregnant and was more interested in knowing about diabetes. So I that reminds me of a referral letter I got to come and see a woman diagnosed of gestational diabetes. This woman was at the second trimester, and the sugar level was very, very high. The sugar level was very, very high. And when I started asking questions about her diet history, I discovered that she has a very poor dietary lifestyle. Some people, they believe whatsoever they will eat, they must take their meal with all these fine sugary drinks. And these are people that have this sedentary lifestyle. They are not really physically active. So I was able to educate this woman. I sat her down to tell her, you need to avoid these things. You need to step up your physical activity. You need to make sure that certain things come into your daily meal. So even at the point of discharge, we are to a reasonable extent able to regulate her blood sugar level. So another risk factor there is if there is a history of gestational diabetes, during the childbearing age, after childbearing, if the person do not maintain a healthy lifestyle, there is a risk of type 2 diabetes manifesting in that woman. Even in the child, there is a risk of diabetes coming up in the child's life, in later life. So that's that. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So I wanted to talk about signs and symptoms. What we are doing today is to ensure that people get to know about diabetes, people get to be serious, intentional about their health. People have to take action that is going to medical facility, seeking for proper testing, knowing their diabetes status and all that. So quickly, let me highlight some of the things, the signs and symptoms in which one will see to know that I'm diabetic already or I have that risk of diabetes. As you all know, increased frequent urination is a sign or symptom of diabetes. As you urinate, there's also increase in thirst. You're always having this feeling to drink more fluid, to take more water, to drink. So as you drink, you urinate often. So there's this also need to eat, increase hunger. These are the symptoms of diabetes. Then in some certain condition, the male, that's a man, can no longer function effectively. There is a issue of erectile dysfunction. You will be wondering, I can no longer satisfy my woman. You will be wondering, what is happening to me? Is anybody fighting me? Is it a spiritual battle? No, it's not a spiritual battle. This is a sign of diabetes, which you really have to take action. Then in some cases, uncontrollable weight loss. You notice that you start losing weight just like that. These are cases we see in type 1 diabetes. You notice that the person starts losing weight. Then there could be poor vision, poor vision. You notice you are having blurry vision. You can no longer see clear. Once you start noticing these things, these are symptoms of diabetes. So even loss,
more than normal.
exactly, even loss of sensation, can be as a result or sign of diabetes.
Actually, loss of sensation starts with increased pain at the leg and at the feet and at the hands.
Exactly.
Lot of pain.
You even have condition of fatigue. The person easily gets fatigued, easily get tired with or without physical activity. You notice that you are no longer strong.
Yes.
Even these signs and symptoms can be seen in women. Urinary tract disease, urinary tract infection. These are signs. When a woman constantly have this issue, itchy skin, dry skin, these are signs and symptoms of diabetes, and the person have to take action. If you know anyone, or if you happen to observe these things in your body, you really need to take action. This is why we are having this section. This is why we are having this section.
One of the symptoms, maybe a collection of them. Okay, if you're having a collection of this, you need to go to a or the person that can diagnose diabetes is okay. So the symptoms can all right. I guess those in the mosque around are praying.
Don't mind me. This is the environment. So, still talking about symptom. Some time ago, I was presented with a patient some time ago, and to give a dietary counsel on diabetes. So I was like, "What brought you to hospital? Why did you decide?" Say he noticed that he have frequent urination. So, and it was abnormal like the way he used to. So when he came, it was discovered that the blood sugar was very, very high. I was like, at least good for you that you are conscious of your body. You notice that this is abnormal. This is not your normal body process, and you were able to take action. So what I'm trying to say is, when you notice these things, don't just, it's not something you just go home and start praying about, or you decide to keep quiet over it. You need to ensure that you come for medical checkup. You take action. Because the next thing we'll be discussing will be all about not taking action, what it will lead to. If you refuse to take action when you see these signs and symptoms, if you refuse to take action, there are complications that will come up. So we'll be talking about that. I would like my colleague to talk briefly on those things that can come up.
Like he said, some of the complications, if you're seeing those signs that he mentioned and you keep quiet, okay, about them. Recently, I had this barrister from Delta whom I was connected to manage his condition, and I discovered that he has suffered it for 15 years, diabetes, all right? But from our counseling section, I discovered that he has not been following his dietary management, okay? Although he said he has seen a dietitian, but I don't know who he met and what the person told him. So I discovered he was eating this unripe plantain and just that, and beans and all that. So I told him, okay, and he was having this pain, this leg pain, okay, especially at night, okay. But because of he was not doing anything about, the control in his dietary management, he was not doing anything about it. it has gotten to a point where he's no longer feeling that part of his leg, that sensation. There's numbness, okay? There's numbness in that part of the leg. And he had this wound, which he was luckily, the wound healed, but he's still feeling that, numbness to an extent. So what am I saying? Complications. One of them is that it will get to a point where your nerves, will be kind of eroded. A sensory nerve, okay, that sends signals, to the brain and all that. You will lose it, because, and your skin will no longer be, you won't be feeling your skin again. All right. And when that happens, it's a form of complication on its own if you don't take action, because it leads to what we call diabetes neuropathy. Okay, you lose the senses in your skin, and it looks like your body is already dead. You won't be feeling it again. And then another thing is that your vision, you can easily lose your vision. Okay, many people that are diabetic, they usually have that. Looks like there's sand in your eye, and why junction. Another complication is your called that if you don't, start healthily, if you don't start managing yourself properly over a period, okay, there'll be a lot of concentration of sugar in your blood, and the kidney will be affected because there will be an upsurge in the volume of fluid in the system.
Okay. Let me say something. Talking about nephropathy, I remember one time I happened to be seeing a patient, and when I asked, why are you here, she said that over a period of time she noticed that she have this back pain, a sharp sorry, a sharp pain around
Yeah,
her lower rib region. So that she noticed a sharp pain, and the thing for a very long time have been disturbing her. So initially she was reluctant. She started taking all these analgesics, all these pain relief drug. You know, at the end of the day, when it became so unbearable, she had to come to the hospital. So the health professionals, after running series of tests, it was discovered she already have chronic kidney disease. So this is a very one of the major complications of diabetes. You know, kidney disease. You wouldn't know. So perhaps the signs have been there. She just ignore it. So not just finding out that she has kidney disease, her sugar, blood sugar was also analyzed, and it was also observed that her sugar glucose level is very, very high. So these are the complications.
they
Other
are, they are like
exactly,
hypertension, diabetes. You
exactly,
can't separate those. Okay, you can't separate them. They're always working together.
exactly.
Yeah.
Then I believe the other complication, there could be heart problem, there could be stroke, because most times when there is diabetes, next thing
Yeah.
is hypertension.
Yeah.
If proper management is not taken, hypertension setting, which can affect the heart, it can lead to heart
Exactly.
attack. It can also affect the brain, leading to stroke. So this is the need why we have to take action. What about poor wound healing? Poor wound
Exactly.
healing. You discover that in an event of injury, that
It can lead
site
to
takes longer
pain,
time to
cutting
heal.
off or amputation. Yeah.
So these complications, we shouldn't even allow ourselves to get to that level. So going back to the signs we already mentioned, once you observe these things, even if it is one sign, even if you notice that the way your body function normally, there have been an abnormality, you need to go for checkup. You need to assess the health facilities so they can diagnose and know what the problem is to avoid complication. Don't assume anything. Don't assume anything at all. That's the purpose of today's celebration. We want to ensure that there is access. And one of the things we are doing today is to sensitize people. We'll still talk about dietary management, but we want you to know the signs and complications of not taking action. If you refuse to take action today, a lot of things can come in. So that is basically that.
I think we have exhausted that. What's next on our lineup? I think the dietary management comes at this point, or
Okay, I was thinking if we can talk about prevention. I was thinking if we can talk about prevention before going into dietary management. I know a lot of people will be really interested in getting to know how can I use food to take care of my condition. So before we get to before we get to dietary management, I'd like us to talk about prevention, some of the actions in which we can do to ensure that this condition did not even come. You know, as the popular saying goes, prevention is better than treatment or cure. So one of the preventions where we can prevent diabetes is to live a healthy lifestyle. We shouldn't live a sedentary lifestyle. We should be physically active. World Health has recommended that one have to engage in at least 30 minutes aerobic exercise every day. Then on the average of a week, at least you should engage in 150 minutes exercise. Just light exercise. There are simple exercises that we can do. There are simple things we can do. I myself, I ensure that I engage in at least 30 minutes exercise every day, which have really helped me to control my weight, which have really helped me to be in shape. So one of the major ways to prevent diabetes is to be physically active. Now, another thing is cut down on refined sugary drinks, sugary products. There are people, they cannot stay a day without taking refined sugary products. In fact, it has become a norm or a culture for them. You need to, it's an addiction. Thank you for that word. You need to cut down. You need to cut down. It is a risk factor. Now, let me point out something. You know, the refined sugar. One will ask, how can this thing lead to diabetes? Refined sugar, basically they are sucrose, and we have two molecules of carbohydrates in them, glucose and fructose. And glucose, basically the body converts it to glycogen. Then fructose are not directly converted to glycogen, so they are converted to fatty acid, and it can lead to accumulation of fat around the abdominal region. And the more there is accumulation, obesity around the abdominal region, it leads to stress on the pancreas. Basically, this leads to type 2 diabetes. It leads to stress. The pancreas will struggle to produce insulin. Even if the pancreas is producing insulin, it's not enough to ensure that the excessive amounts of sugar coming in are converted. So that is the reason why we really have to cut down. Instead of taking refined sugar, you can go for fruits. One will ask, is fruit not sugar? The way God created fruit is in a way is high in diet fiber. So the sugar in fruits are not rapidly absorbed. They are not rapidly absorbed into the blood system. So that's just that. Another way is to avoid smoking. Avoid smoking. Excessive smoking, some of the chemical constituents interferes with our body system. So avoid smoking. These are ways you can prevent diabetes. Then if you know that you are overweight, work towards shedding those weight. Work towards losing weight. Work towards losing weight.
Region. That's the target point.
Exactly. Work towards
heart risk, the risk of heart disease, the risk of diabetes, because that's where the pancreas is in that region too. So
exactly.
it restricts the function.
So work
Those organs.
towards losing that weight. I believe my colleague will have one or two things to say still on prevention.
Okay. Basically prevention is about lifestyle changes. Okay. You the truth is that many of us know some of these lifestyle changes that they are wrong. But the problem is that people are addicted to certain things because it has been on for over a period. I think it's time to seek help because I've discovered that over a period of time, you cannot manage certain lifestyle conditions. Okay, until you start being accountable to a professional, someone to help you out. Okay, you give up easily psychologically when you feel you're not seeing results. Okay, you give up. When you have somebody that is helping you, with things that will help you become more active, so you become more responsible to it. All right. So I think basically lifestyle changes. If you're eating more than you are not using, okay, you're not eating the quantity that the body needs per time. Okay, you need to watch it out. Okay, and you're not being active enough to meet with your consumption, what you're eating, because this is about give and take. If you're not taking in what you're consuming, if you're not taking in what you're using, then it will definitely find a way to accumulate in the body and cause some of these problems. So the basic information here is become active as much as possible. Don't be sedentary in your lifestyle. Don't always lie down. Don't always sit down. Don't always be eating out. Yes, I need to mention this. Eating out is another way people become um it's a highway. It's a highway to becoming obese. If you extend it out. The reason is this. Some of this food they cook outside. They use some of the sweeteners and some things that make those foods very sweet. And them is monosodium glutamate. And that's substance eat more than required. If you're not careful, if you're not disciplined enough, it makes you eat. You feel like you eat at the restaurant, okay? You take home with you that you will eat at home as well. And then tomorrow again, because of the sweetness of their food, you will tell friends, let's go here and go and eat. So over time, you become addicted to that kind of lifestyle. One of the people I'm following is a content creator. She said that recently she noticed that she has been eating out and that she was celebrating it and said something like that the mother told her that that lifestyle is a very wrong lifestyle, but that the mother lied, the grandmother lied, that she doesn't believe that is a sweet thing to be eating out. So, but somebody who wants to be healthy, okay, to a very large extent, you need to learn how to prepare your meals at home because your meals at home are healthier and you would eat them in that natural form that it was made. Right? I think that's just that for now.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's quickly discuss dietary management. I believe everybody will be eager to know. Everybody will be eager. When it comes to food, everybody wants to be professional. Everybody wants to give advice and all that. So we'll briefly talk about generally how we can use diet to manage diabetes. And when
Yeah.
diabetes have been diagnosed and it have been seen that this person is diabetic, definitely there's a need to adjust in dietary intake, dietary lifestyle. So for type 1, Definitely,
Just,
because these people.
just before you go into it, okay, I
Okay.
think we need to put emphasis on the need for dietary management, okay, because some people, a lot of things are going on, okay. People are told that you can manage your diabetes and eat anyhow you want, and you manage it and you can even reverse it without diet. If you go online, it's crazy out there. Okay, people are selling a lot of things, and they are making people believe that you can actually manage your diabetes or reverse your diabetes condition.
And some people even make it like a death sentence. You can no longer eat this, you will not eat this, you will only eat this, only this one, you will no longer eat this. So
Affecting psychology, okay, they are suffering another level of depression, even while in diabetes. So that's why dietary management is very, very, very important to cure depression, okay, to cure mismanagement, to avert mismanagement. There is nothing you can do about it. Diabetes, if anybody is telling you that you can manage diabetes with just your drug and your insulin, that person is lying to you. It's not true. And if anybody is telling you that one product can cure your diabetes, that is a fallacy. It's not true. You need your dietary management. If it's not very um, if it's not cardinal in that management, forget it. It's not going to work. There's no two ways about it. Take it from
exactly,
me.
exactly.
It has to do with your food intake. So your diet is very important in the management. So I just wanted to lay that emphasis before you go into it.
Okay. Let me still stress a little bit. As far as diabetes is concerned, it's not like a Ponzi scheme, like a get rich quick scheme where you just do something to bring down your sugar level and okay, let me go back to the way I live my life. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that at all. So for dietary management, let me quickly take type 1. In type 1, since these people, type 1 diabetes, since these people depend solely on insulin, which means there's a need to measure their carbohydrate intake, there's a need to measure their calorie intake, there's a need to measure their food intake. And this you don't do on your own. You must work with a dietitian. It is very vital to plan your meal, know the amount of carbohydrate you'll be taking with respect to your insulin intake to make sure that it is balanced, to avoid you going hypoglycemic and to avoid you being hyperglycemic. So in dietary management, type 1 diabetes patients must work together with a dietitian to help them manage their carbohydrate intake, help them manage their food intake with respect to the insulin treatment. Okay, I think my colleague will rejoin us soon enough. Then let me quickly talk about dietary management of type 2. Okay, he's back. So
Yeah.
while you went off studio, I talked about type 1
Okay.
diabetes dietary management. So quickly, let us talk about dietary management in type 2. Basically, there is a need to increase fiber intake. There is a need to increase fiber intake. And let me correct this impression. As a diabetic patient,
Yeah.
you shouldn't limit yourself to certain types of food. You
Yeah.
shouldn't depend on this particular food group. As far as food is concerned, in its natural form, there are ways you can eat it. So in management, one, you need to increase your dietary fiber intake, sorry. And we can get this fiber in whole grains and cereals and legumes and fruits and vegetable. You need to make sure you get your fiber enough, at least up to 300 grams of fiber in your daily meal. That's number one. Number two, cut down on refined sugar. Cut down on refined sugar. You need to cut down on refined sugar. In fact, avoid taking refined sugar unless proven otherwise. Then you can snack on your vegetables, you can snack on your fruits, you should also cut down on your saturated and trans fat. When we talk about saturated fats, we are talking about this fat that under room temperature they solidify. There are people they enjoy this part of beef or meat that is very high in fat because it makes the meat palatable. You need
Fat
to
is
cut
sweet.
down
Fat
on
is
that.
sweet, you know.
People they have given themselves to so much eating of pastries, and these
Yeah.
pastries usually are being produced with trans fats like margarine and some shortens,
Yeah.
which will complicate the issue. You need to cut down on that. Of course, diabetes usually come with hypertension, which means you should also watch your sodium intake, which is
Yeah.
very vital. Then the source of protein, like I mentioned earlier, should be lean source, which means when you talk about protein, you are talking about both animal meat, fish, your milk, and milk product. It should be the
Yeah.
one that have reduced fat. So
Right.
these are the basic management. If we want to go specifically, it has to be done with respect to the person's individual need. So this is the
Yeah.
basic requirement for dietary management
So
of
let
diabetes.
me let me just mention a few things about what you said, also to lay emphasis on certain things. You know, in I needed us to mention some of those vegetables that they can take. Leafy vegetables, your pumpkin, your green, you can use them as accompaniment with your food. You put them inside the food and you eat them alongside the food, even your cabbage, your cucumber, and all that. But you can also eat some vegetables after your meal. Okay, you might eat
Exactly.
them as snacks. Okay, your cucumber, your garden egg. I recently found out that this dried tiger nuts, not the drink, the dried one. Okay, it has very good fiber for that helps diabetes. Okay, all right. So you can snack on some of them. Okay, if you after eating your meal or you don't have leafy vegetables to go with that, you can also eat this ones after your meal, in between your meals. Okay, so and then the next thing apart from this, they've cut down on fats. The next thing you can actually do is increase physical activity. It's very key. You know that the muscles uses sugar as energy. So as much as possible, if you increase your daily physical activity, naturally those sugars in your blood will be absorbed, okay, will be used by the muscles and it will cut down on the accumulated sugar in the blood. So the more active you become, the more chances of you cutting down on your blood sugar in the blood,
Okay.
right? Yeah.
Thank you very much. I mentioned on cutting down on saturated fats, trans fat. So let me also add that you should go for healthy fat. Healthy fat, that's unsaturated fat. You get in your fatty fish, you get in your vegetable oil like olive oil,
Yeah.
soybean oil. So in as much as we've encouraged that you can use these sources of oil, how you also use it will determine its benefit to you. If you use it the wrong way, what we are trying
Yeah.
to avoid will still manifest itself. Due to we are running out of time, there's one sensitive thing I would like us to talk about. Mistakes
Okay.
people do. Yes, people that
Okay,
have
just
been
touch a bit of that. I think is very key that
Mhm.
just touch
people
some of.
people that have been diagnosed of diabetes. Let me give you an instance. Someone came to the hospital, and when the person was referred to come and see me, during the process of counseling, he told me that a neighbor of theirs already that have diabetes said for now I should only take acha. I should forget about every other thing. So these are the common mistakes. One, taking information from non-professionals. Once you have been diagnosed of diabetes, the good thing you should do for yourself is assess the care of health professionals, both doctors, pharmacists, dietitians, most importantly. And when it comes to dietary management, you need to get information from dietitians. How can someone tell you no longer everything you eat is all about this particular food? So these are the common mistakes which should be avoided. Now, since I'm mentioning food, some people, they believe they will only eat beans. They will only eat beans. I believe some time ago we've tried to pass this information across through our video skits and all that. How will you tell me I will only eat beans? And the logic behind it is that beans is not a carbohydrate food, that beans is a proteinous food, so it will not add to my blood sugar. It is total fallacy. And by virtue of percentage, beans is higher in carbohydrate than protein. Beans make up to 65% of carbohydrate than protein. So if you have the intention of let me eat beans so that it will not affect my blood sugar, you are lying. At the end of the day, even the little protein there will be converted to carbohydrate. The truth is, we need all the food groups. We need all the food groups as far as dietary management is concerned. So don't make the mistake of eating one particular food based on what you hear people saying that this is what you need to do. These are the common mistakes. Some people believe, okay, I've heard that I should not take sugary drink, and I'm not taking sugary drink, but I'm still taking malt. Malt is not sugar. Who told you that? Malt is sugar. Yeah, you heard it right. Malt is sugar. When you are advised to cut down from taking refined sugary drink, malt also is inclusive. We are really running out of time. So some people, they will tell you to
just
avoid.
Mention some of the mistakes. You just run it down.
Okay.
So that
Some people, they tell you to avoid all forms of carbohydrate. It's a lie. The truth is, even if you decide, okay, recently I happened to see a patient and the person told me, okay, I'm not taking enough carbohydrate. Last night I ate, imagine eating a whole guinea fowl, more like eating a whole chicken, because you don't want to take carbohydrate. These are mistakes. These are mistakes. At the end of the day, you are causing more harm than good for yourself. Imagine putting yourself to risk of your kidney being overused and all that. So the most important thing is to get information. Get information from health professional. Get information from trained professional. For instance, medical doctors, dietitians, nutrition professionals that have known the rudiments of proper management of this diabetes. And this is the main reason why we are here today. We are talking about access to diabetes care. Some people, they discourage people from accessing this diabetic patient, from accessing care, getting information from the right source. These are common mistakes. So some people, they will tell you avoid all forms of carbohydrate, like I mentioned. So just eat beans, just take, even if you don't take carbohydrate, the body, since the body make mostly use of glucose as its number one energy source, the body will convert. If you are taking protein, the body will keep that protein aside and still convert it to carbohydrate. So whatsoever that you are scared of will still manifest. Okay? Some people, they believe they change their eating habit. They have irregular eating pattern. These are common mistakes. The person will say, I will not eat breakfast, I will not eat lunch, I will only eat dinner. Starvation in order to bring down blood sugar. You know what it means?
He stayed all through the day and brought down his sugar, but the next day nobody told him to go and look for something to eat.
Now the problem is, biochemically, even if you decide not to eat, the body, there is something we call ketoacidosis. The body will first of all work on the stores, the glycogen stores. Once those ones have exhausted, the body will now start sourcing for energy from other sources like fats, the muscles, and all that, through the process of gluconeogenesis. And the more these things happens, the more there is accumulation of ketones in the body, which leads to diabetes ketoacidosis, which is very, very dangerous. So for proper management, forget about someone saying, I will starve myself. If you try to starve yourself in order to bring down your sugar, you are doing yourself more harm than good. So these are some of the common mistakes we do, thinking that we are managing ourselves. So I believe
think
my colleague will.
you are
Okay.
just said that. Okay. There are a lot of them. I don't think we can exhaust them right now. I just want to say something about the government. All right. I think it's that time I say something about the government. Diabetes can be managed if there is access to care. And we want to use this opportunity to plead with the government. At local government level, there is need for primary health care services, okay, to
Exactly.
be closer to the people. Okay, no matter what, people cannot continue to depend on going to the health hospitals that are, secondary healthcare centers. All right, they need these primary healthcare centers. So some of these tests can be provided for them at that level. All these kits, they are very cheap and they can be provided at that level. So people can go there and check their blood sugar. We are not talking about glycated hemoglobin, which is also, you can use it to predict if you'll be diabetic in the nearest future. So anybody that is out there, you have a family history of diabetes, you can actually use glycated hemoglobin to know if you will be diabetic in the nearest future. So you start your dietary management or your being careful today. It will help you avert that. So having said that, I want to say that government needs to do a lot more at the primary care level. Let these kits be provided at that level so that people can go, even if it's a nutritionist, or outreaches can be done from time to time. We can actually reduce this our risk in Nigeria, these diabetic conditions that we have. We can actually, if we have a proper plan of 5 years, that every quarter we do some outreaches in some local communities, all right? Over a period, you see this thing, people will get knowledge, people will be empowered, people will get to know that this is what I need to do. Once I notice anything, I run to my healthcare professional in my local community. And this is how we can actually help. And government should also help get professionals, put professionals in those facilities. If it's a dietitian, if it's a medical doctor, let people be there. And then investment in researches. I think it's high time Africa starts looking for alternative to insulin, because a lot of things goes with insulin. All right. I think it's time we need to start looking for alternative to insulin, something that is local. One, it is expensive. Insulin is expensive. Two, it
Exactly.
leads to a lot of disruption in people's system. Some people will take it and they will tell you that their system is no longer the same and they are not taking it anymore, and it leads them to having higher risk, in complications. So I
Having
think
more
it's high.
complications.
Yes, I think it's that time we start investing in research, finding a local, alternative to insulin, something that can be affordable for us, something that is, used to our system. Because insulin, for some people around here in Africa, they have a lot of, issues that come up. I don't know if the side effects, I'll call it, that goes with insulin. So if we have something local, I think it will help. It will go a long way. So investment, funding, researches is very important. And we have to wrap it up here. If you have something else to say, you
Okay.
can share it so that
Still talking about the government. In as much as there's a need to invest in primary health centers, primary health care, and the likes of them. I think the government also have a role to play as far as sensitization and awareness is
it's
with
concerned.
respect to the risk factors of diabetes. There are certain parts of this country, their laws forbid you from taking alcohol, and they think that alcohol is the only alcohol is bad. Therefore, I can now take refined sugar as much as I want. So if the government can really invest in awareness, health awareness, there are trained professionals that can actually do these things. So what the government needs to do is to empower these people. I can remember some years ago, Nutrition Life, in our little way, we've gone for outreaches in local communities, and we've actually sensitized people. Due to lack of funding, we are not able to carry on with this. We've only resorted to online sensitization. But there's a need for government to empower these nutrition professionals to go to the grassroots, talk to people, let people understand that certain lifestyle can predispose one, not just to diabetes, to a lot of other health conditions. So I think our government needs to step up. Then another thing is we should not just be comfortable with doing it, okay, at a certain point every year we should talk about this. This should be an everyday thing. This should be something that have to be done all the time. So before I wrap it up, I just want to tell our viewers, thank you very much for staying with us from the beginning of this program. And some of you, if you are not able to join,
questions that you can actually look at if you have any. Are there questions?
Okay,
that
I don't think there's any question here. So even if they have question, they can still drop it on the comment section of these. So they drop it. We can always, there is someone that will always answer or respond to the question. Then I want to say, if you're not able to join this live section, the recorded form will be there for you to go and look at, and so learn one or two things. Then please know your blood sugar test today. Know your blood sugar. Don't say I'm very young, I cannot be predisposed. It have been found that if a parent is diabetic, there is 40% probability chance risk of you developing diabetes. And when both parents, about 70 to 80% is certain. So which means you have to know your risk. Go for your blood sugar test as much as possible. You can go to any center, and there are some people that even run these things using AkuCheck and all these things. So go and know your diabetes status, and the earlier you find out, the better for you to manage it very well. So over to you, Dietitian Seromfeji.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, everyone. I want to appreciate you for being with us. Please, I want to please with you. You people should learn to share our content. We are doing it not just for you to read, we are doing it for many other people to read. A lot of people don't know these things, and the more you share them, the more people know about them, the more they want to do the right thing. Some people want to do the right thing, but they don't know how. So we are here to show them how. So all you can do for us to support us, we are not saying you should give us your money. If you can give us your money, fine. It will help us. But first of all, share our videos. That's the only way you can help us. Investing in us is by sharing our video, and the more you share it, we promise you that we will continue to serve you in this capacity, and as the Lord help us. Thank you, Dietitian Adimchi, for coming on board. I want to appreciate you, and from all of us at Nutrition Life, I want to say thank you so much, and may God bless you.
Thank you. Bye for now.
All right, bye.